The flurry of executive orders signed by President Trump on Monday promised little more than the chaos and cruelty we became accustomed to in his first term. His radical anti-immigration agenda will separate families, decimate our economy, and strike fear in our communities. With the stroke of a pen, he has revived the harsh and inhumane policies of his previous administration, such as the Remain in Mexico program, eliminated enforcement priorities, sharply reduced the availability of humanitarian parole, begun dismantling the refugee program, and launched a breathtaking assault on the Constitution by attempting to end birthright citizenship. But the Trump administration's policy of mass deportation and destroying legal pathways, wrapped as always in a blanket of hateful rhetoric, will not fix our broken immigration system. It will only make it harder to reach the bipartisan, comprehensive solutions that are so desperately needed. Mr. Beer, thank you for being here today. Republicans are using this hearing to lay the foundation for their own anti-immigration agenda. So I want to start with some important facts about the state of the border today. One, when President Biden left office earlier this week, were unauthorized crossings higher or lower than they were when President Trump left office?
They were much lower, significantly lower, about 33% lower than when President Trump left office.
Thank you. What about evasions of Border Patrol officers? Were they higher at the end of President Trump's first term or President Biden's?
They were 42% lower at the end of Biden's term than at the end of Trump's, and Trump's increased evasions over the course of his 4 years.
And isn't it true that unlawful encounters at the border were trending upwards long before President Biden took office?
Every month after April 2020, it increased. He keeps pointing to April 2020 when the pandemic started and unemployment spiked. But every month after that, we saw increases in illegal immigration and border crossings and evasions of Border Patrol.
Thank you. I want to turn now to the executive order that purports to end birthright citizenship. This executive order prevents the children of immigrants, both those whose parents have a lawful immigration status like a work visa and those whose parents are undocumented, who are born in the United States, from being able to obtain documents to demonstrate that they are citizens of the United States. Can you please talk about how this would work in practice and the sort of chaos that will ensue if this order is actually allowed to go forward?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to apply to every single American child born in the United States. You will have to prove the status and citizenship.
Every child, not just those of undocumented immigrants.
Exactly. My family is going to go through this in a few months. We're going to have to prove the citizenship of the parents of the child. Of course, we can do that. But if you don't have a passport, according to this order, you don't have proof of citizenship. Your birth certificate isn't enough. And so you will have to go through the rabbit hole. I'll have to prove my parents' citizenship and paperwork. I mean, this is the insanity of this order from an administrative perspective. It's going to burden every single American. It's going to call into question all of our citizenship. And looking forward, it's going to create a lot of people who are in stateless situations where they don't have citizenship of any country and can be subject to removal even though they were born here, they grew up here. They are Americans. This is an attack on Americans and our rights.
Let's take a specific example of the impact this executive order could have. The extensive green card backlogs for high-skilled workers mean that H-1B visa holders must wait decades and even centuries before a green card is available to them. Right now, if both parents have H-1B status, a child who is born abroad but who has lived in the United States for nearly their entire lives must leave the country when they turn 21 unless they have their own immigration status. That's bad enough, but under this executive order, even children born in the U.S. to such parents might have to self-deport because they would be denied citizenship at birth. Mr. Beard, does it make sense to send children who are born in the United States to countries that they don't know, may never have been to, and where they have no support network?
No, it absolutely does not. It makes the country weaker. It discourages legal immigration. It discourages high-skilled immigration. Look, when I talk to a lot of high-skilled immigrants in this country, they talk about their family. They talk about the hope they have for their children to be Americans, to grow up in this country and to contribute to this country. And we should want them here. We should want to encourage them to stay. And one of the greatest things the United States has ever done is had birthright citizenship because it encourages assimilation. Everyone who's born here knows I'm an American, I can participate in our democracy and contribute to this country.
And contrary to the president's
Gentleman's
assertion
time has
that
expired.
only one country has birthright
Hunt.
citizenship, 33 do. I yield back.